the beginning of the
that box
68
I think it's the right-hand
Chevy
side.
C10 project. It's a long bed. We're going to make it a short bed.
All right, the project we're working on is a 68 C10 long bed. We're doing a short bed conversion. I bought the plates that you drill and bolt to the frame under here that give you a template to cut. So you don't have to do any measuring or anything like that. You just line it up, drill some pilot holes, cut through the slotted spots on these plates.
As you can see, there's a lot of projects around here.
Later that same evening.
Now we're cutting off the bolts underneath to get the bed off. What do you think, Keegan?
Don't mess with that.
Keegan, put it down. What do you think? Now we have the bed off of the truck. Now we're cutting
You better not be trying to start it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now we're cutting the overload spring. And safety squint 5000s over there. This is OSHA who?
All right, a couple of days ago we removed the bed, the long bed, so we can get it ready to cut down for the short bed conversion. I've already started removing the front bed mount. I removed the cab mount underneath the right here, because that one gets relocated whenever you shorten the frame. I've already got these ready to knock off, and I've partially mounted the bed shortening, or the frame shortening plate on the driver's side. This is the piece that goes on the passenger side. Brothers sells a kit that has better instructions. The kit that I bought was a lot cheaper but has 0 instructions, so you kind of gotta look online and see what everybody else is doing. Right now, the truck has a 350 with a turbo 400 transmission. I'm going to swap it with either a 4.8 or a 6.0. I have a 4.8 with a 137,000 miles on it, or I have a 6.0 that's got about 350,000 miles. Both ran fine, so I'm unsure which way I want to go. Either way, it's going to have a 4L80 trans. And that's about all I've decided so far. I have a brand new short bed to put on it with a brand new wood floor kit. So I won't be cutting down an old truck bed. I'm just going to use new sheet metal. It's already got brand new doors, brand new fenders, brand new cowl induction hood. I have a brand new roof skin. I have the complete cab floor with cab mounts and bracing and everything in it that's going to go in. I have the rocker panels and everything. The only parts that I'm missing right now is the cab corners and bed hardware and new body mount bushings. It's about all I'm missing on it right now.
6 hours later.
Okay, I've got this plate mounted As I said in the video earlier, I bought a cheap kit. This is not the Brothers kit. It comes with 0 instructions. I, through trial and error, got it fit up here how I want it. Honestly, I can tell you that the only thing that really matters is that you cut this much out and weld the thing back together square. You don't have to have this kit to do a short bed or long bed to short bed conversion. It just makes it a lot easier, and that's why I did it. People have been making short bed conversions for years before these kits were available. You totally do not have to have it. You just have to cut this much out of the frame, bring it together, weld it up. But this kit allows you to drill out all of these holes, these 4 holes here, these 2 holes here, using the template, and then you remove this section, and then this bolts in inside of the frame right there and right there. And then after this is bolted in, you'll weld the seam that's going to be right here to this section that'll be moved forward with this bolted inside, and then you can weld this plate in to strengthen it. And this chassis will absolutely be stronger than a short bed frame would be after this piece is in there. As you can see here, 12 inches is the amount that's going to get cut out of the front of the frame to do a short bed conversion. As long as this amount is taken out in front of this cross member back here, and it's square whenever you weld it back together, you absolutely do not need this kit. All right, I'm drilling out all of the pilot holes here so I can complete the frame shortening. On fire.
Yeah.
I'm burning you with fire. I gotta get some of the stuff out of the way before I shorten the frame. So I'm cutting the exhaust brackets. Trying to keep this truck operational. So I can move it around while I'm working on it. I've been stockpiling the parts for this job for the last year and a half, so last weekend was the first I've actually worked on it when I removed the bed. We don't need that. I moved the fuel line out of the way, and it looks like it's leaking.
You lighting starting?
No. I moved it out of the way, and I must have put a crack in the fuel line. I've got to get the brake line out of the way as well, because I'll be cutting the frame over here where the brake line is located currently. All of the holes are drilled out here to 3/8. and ready for the cut on this side. I don't have the plate located on this side yet.
They used to call them short bed swap Derek.
I've got the other side located and the pilot holes are all drilled out to 3/8 already. So that side is ready to cut. I have not mounted this side up yet. I'm placing it up here right now. And as I said before, I got no instructions. But as long as I put this right here, drill it, bolt it, cut it here, bring the two halves back together, put the bracket inside, the reinforcement, bolt it together, it's gonna work, I guarantee it. Okay, one thing that I should mention that I learned through trial and error here. I drilled this out. I'm guessing it's probably to about a 3/16. I didn't look at the size of the drill bit, but it fit the pilot hole. Drill the first bolt, put the bolt in, and tighten it down before you start drilling any of the other holes. I failed to do that on the other side and started drilling my 3/16 pilot holes, and I got two of them off a little bit. It did not end up being a problem because, you know, I'm drilling it out to 3/8, so I just drilled through after bolting one bolt in. It cleaned up the hole. It didn't double drill or anything like that, but drill, bolt one bolt in first, then continue on and drill the rest of your pilot holes. All right, I've completed the pilot holes and then I've drilled them out for 3/8. It is ready now to make my cuts on both sides. I'm gonna lower the vehicle down, place the front half on jack stands. I'm gonna put a floor jack underneath the rear half to support the rear half. Then I'm gonna cut the frame sections and I will remove the plates, clean up the frame, and then bolt in my stiffening support on the inside after I've got the frame all ground and sanded and cleaned and ready for weld and all of that. I'm not using the factory drive shaft, but I cut it. I cut 12 inches out of the drive shaft. I am gonna weld the drive shaft back together. This is not going to be driven except for in the driveway, in and out of my shop, so I can use, you know, still have access to my shop here. I wouldn't recommend shortening your own drive shaft. I've done it. You know, they have to be straight, they gotta be balanced, or else you have problems. But I'm gonna weld it together temporarily. I have a one-piece drive shaft that's gonna go in it after I do my engine swap and everything. I'm likely putting a 9-inch Ford in the rear. I have a 9-inch Ford over here with disc brakes and everything that I'm probably gonna put in the rear. I have the wide rear wheel tubs for my conversion here as well. So it's gonna get pretty wide tires. It's probably gonna have you know, a 22 to 24-inch wheel with as wide a tire as I can get. It'll probably take a 14 to 16-inch wide tire whenever I'm done. Don't know what they'll end up. We'll see whenever we get there. All right, I've got the frame, the front section of the frame supported now with jack stands. I've got the rear section under the cross member here supported with my floor jack. And all I have left to do here is make my cuts at the perforations on the bracket here on both sides. And then I can remove the template, roll it forwards, and bolt in the inner reinforcement. I'm gonna clean everything up in between time, you know, remove all the rust in the area where the inner reinforcement plate goes and where all the welding is gonna be on the inside and outside, so it'll all be clean and ready for weld. All right, the reinforcement plate is bolted in on both sides. Both sides of the frame are cut. I've already ground, or well, sanded and the inside of the frame rail where all of the bracket and stuff is going to be, so it's clean. And we are getting ready to slide the sections of frame together so we can bolt the two halves back together. And then we'll be ready to do some, probably going to bevel the edges of the frame where it's going to be welded on the outside for better penetration. And that's it.
What do you think about the truck so far?
It's cool.
You know what we're doing?
The shorts are in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Just one more time. One more time. One more time. Get the bottom of the rear section up.
I'm on the outside over here.
Well, you need a pry bar. You're gonna have to pry it.
Just a smidge.
You got one of those, or?
Yeah. Here, there, and everywhere. Don't you know? There's one on the top of it.
Go.
Push
Hit
it.
the button.
There we go. Hold on. Yeah, just down, just a smidge. This one, right?
Just tap it once.
Come on. Arm slide it right there. Let me try to assist you. There we go.
Ready?
Okay, the front section is already shortened and bolted back together with the new stiffener brace. The last part is to cut 8 inches off of the rear of the frame here, and this piece is the template that was used to cut the 12 inches out of the front of the bed. Now it is the template to mark the 8 inches at the rear of the frame to cut off of each side, and then it's going to be the correct length for a short bed.
A few moments later.
Alright, since the last segment of the video, we have rolled the back section together and bolted the sections together now. I would recommend, you know, this is all trial and error with me because this is the first one I've done. We had the bracket, the reinforcement bracket bolted to the rear half of the frame. I initially had it tight. We tried to slide it together and I couldn't get it to slide into the frame rail on both sides at the same time. So we went back and loosened the brackets. I would leave them kind of floppy loose. Slide your halves together. I used a big Phillips head screwdriver as a drift to try to, you know, pry and get my holes lined up so I could get all the bolts in. Once the bolts were all in, I tightened everything down. Then the next thing that I did here is this bracket. This is the section that gets cut out whenever when you're using it as a template for cutting. This is the 12-inch section that gets cut out. After you're done with that, to relocate the cab mount here, this goes back on, and this notch right here goes around the forward bed mount and locks it in up there. Then you drill out this hole here with the 3/16 drill bit, and then you put the cab mount on, and then it's on you to square up the cab mount with the chassis. You have to square it up because it only pilots the one hole. You square it up here, drill the next hole, then you drill the the other 2 holes in the rear and bolt it on. Right now, on the other side, I have the bracket installed. Here's the hole that I drilled out right here. This piece is ready to remove. Drill that hole out to 3/8. And then I'm going to bolt the cab mount back on. Right there. As you can see, it lines up with the original cab mount location. All of this rusty stuff is going away. I've got a full 1-piece floor with all the brand new bracing and everything in it. All of that's going away. You'll see that in future videos. But anyway, that's going to go on there just like that once this bracket here is out of the way. And then I think that is the last time that we use this template. I forgot to mention that I had beveled the gap here. You probably could leave more of a gap in between, but you know, you need to bevel it out so you get good penetration. The more of a bevel you got on there, the more you're going to sink it into the reinforcement that's on the other side. And this one's just about ready to weld up. I may bevel that just a little bit more and then weld it up.
Get her done. What's up, dude?
There was one last use for this template. It locates the rear bed crossmember mount hole. It goes on like this. You line up the perforation right there with the end of the frame rail that's already been cut to length. And then I took a Sharpie, drew around the hole, pulled it off, and I drilled what looks like probably, I don't know, 11/16 diameter hole. It was about the same width as the opening here. And now we are done with this bracket.
A little bit smaller than a quarter.
This is a stock 350. It's got a fresh rebuilt turbo 400 transmission in it, but all of that stuff's coming out. And then if we look behind, here's a 4.8 with 137,000 miles on it. And then up above, there's a 6.0 up there. Either one of these engines could be my donor. That's got about 350,000 miles on it, but it still ran good. And then down here on the floor, I've got several 4L80E transmissions. One of these is going to go into the truck with one of these engines, and I don't know which one yet.
I've been able to see this in the background. So
that's a 39 Ford panel truck that I dug out of a field. The chassis was no good. It was all bent up, cut up. The front end was smashed. This is a 39 Ford Coupe front end. It does not belong on there, but it is
going to be there.
On there.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop for a second.
Has a supercharged 3800 out of a Bonneville SSEI. I got this thing running back at the very beginning of COVID. Drove it around the neighborhood, and here it's set for the last probably 4 years. It hasn't been started since.
Another project you guys might see at a later date.
That's my wife's.
Yeah.